Hello, this is Professor Kim Nelson with the Jewelry Design Department at the Fashion Institute of Technology. Continuing with our tutorial on the cuff bangle. Now you'll see that I have continued the modeling, and finished doing all of my scrolls and varied cross-section necks. I had to do some changes along the way to get my elevations to work as I predicted I would. Those were done using cage editing to help control the weave a little bit. And I'm ready to do the complicated caps. And once again, I'll just be modeling this as I go. I don't know what I'll be doing next, so hopefully this goes smoothly. Here's my first cap, and the most difficult. Okay? I need to cut across these. It's a cutting plane. Just a straight line could do. I'm not going to want to use a straight line though. But about there. Okay. So I need to give him enough room. Line perpendicular from curve. I don't want to intersect where this comes over the top. And I'd like it to be fairly even. Okay. Something like that. And then I'll be surfacing this piece separately. Here goes. So, cutting plane. And I will split this. Hide the leftover piece. Hide that in case I want it for C-plane later. Same thing. Cutting plane. Gotta be careful here or I'll end up splicing through the scroll as well, which I don't want to do. I don't want to slice through there at all. So extract an iso curve, trim off the rest of that cutting plane so it doesn't do irreparable damage. Split the section and hide these two. Okay, I'm going to eventually be bullioning these together. I'm not going to worry about that just as yet. I want to keep these side surfaces. Solid, extract surface. Copy equals yes. I just want these for reference right now. So what I need to do is deal with the awkwardness of sweeping something up to here and here, and this is going to be the most difficult. I have this this very short segment of curve. That happens to also have a crease. That happens to also be going across that small of an area. Curve tools, right C-plane, straight line, straight line. Okay. I'm going to project these to the C-plane, so they end up way the heck back there. That's going to be hard for you to understand, so I won't do that. Instead, I'll put a C-plane up here. In my own work, I would have just thrown it all the way back there, but that's going to be hard for you to see what I'm doing. So, there. Throw them onto that C-plane. I'm going to split these curves. So that I have the two pieces I need. There's a command that's very commonly used in Rhino. Curve from two views. Curve from two views takes any two planar curves that are in different planes, they can't be in the same plane, and creates a three-dimensional curve from them. For example, this and this. And for example, this and this. This will at least start to show me if what I want to do is possible. It may not be. What I want to do may really not be feasible, but I'm going to try. Now obviously this didn't come in very nicely, didn't swoop in nicely at all, so I'm going to rebuild it down to a 3-4 curve. The same with this. Oops, not that. Sorry. This. No. I don't like it. Don't like either one of those. So, adjustable blend curve. Okay. That to kind of, that wave to have some relationship to this point, because I think it'll look more natural if it does. Just kind of want to feel it centering up on that. Okay. The other one, I don't care so much about. That's fine with me. Although I would like it to kind of pick up a little bit of what's going on with the one in back. So now I have these two curves, which are fairly useless. Bring back my C-plane. And I will project these two onto it. once again, I could have just projected them straight back onto the right C-plane. It would have done the same thing. It's just easier for you to see if I do it from here. Curve from two views. Take a look. Okay, that's likely as good as I'm going to get. This is probably two curves. Yes, it is. With that crease. I'm not sure what the math is. That's an 11.3. Yeah, I'll simplify that to 4.3, and I'm going to match it. To that edge. Tangency. These look like they're already pretty smooth. I can double check them. There. So I have that much. Joined those together. Straight line. I'll use mid-snap, so at least this just ends up somewhere along the middle. Actually, I hate that. I don't want it there. So no snap, just near. I want it to be in the middle of the nose there. Those extra curves should not have been necessary. I'm going to use a bi-rail sweep, and that should have been fine. But just in case, actually I'm not going to use a bi-rail sweep. I'm going to use a surface from Curve Network, so I can read off the edges of these surfaces for smoothness. So I should get tangency options at these two edges, which I do. Do the same thing back here. But here I have a problem, because it's going to want to make this into a single surface. I'll go ahead with it and see what happens. And usually what I'll get is a little balloon at the end here. See this? Rhino insisting that it doesn't want to, it can't make a poly surface with surface from Curve Network. And I know that. So I'll explode these two and handle them separately. I'll have one tangency option right there. I'll have one tangency option right there. Oops. Rhino's refusing to join that. Or that. It's a mystery. I don't know why. Rhino 4 doesn't do that nearly as often as Rhino 5. I actually used the edge of that surface to make this surface, so it should be as tight as it possibly can be. And yet still Rhino doesn't like it. And if I try and do a match, tangency, accepted it. Okay, I'll do the same over here. Usually that won't work. Match surfaces, like match curve. It can only work on an untrimmed surface, which this is. It has no cuts on it. It's its native state. And to that one. Okay, do you see what's happening here? See this? This is a problem. So I'm going to go back and pick the same edge. And that should be fine. Okay. Join. So there's our framework. Now I've got to come up with cross sections. I know, or at least I believe that I know. Okay, I'm actually wrong. At this point, this has the curved back and the swooped angle. And at this point, this is just curved. Alright, that makes my life a little easier. I'm going to do a simple curve. Cross section. I need a C-plane to draw it on. That's easy. And project, just so I make sure it's flat. Surface extrusion. C-plane. Delete. Blend. Adjustable. As soon as I started doing this, I realized I had a problem. It's going to be really important that I have an elevation cross-section. So starting here, as much fun as that was, is premature. Not ready for it yet. Come back to that later. Need to extract an isocurve off the top of this center surface. Other direction, mid. Need to pull the same thing off of here, mid. Then using the same principle that we've been using, do a blend curve. And throw this to the C-plane. I'm not going to draw the C-plane up here anymore. You've seen it twice. You understand what the principle is. I can just go to the regular right C-plane. Okay. It's way the heck back there, but it's still planar and in the right relative plane for what I want. So I'm good with that. I'll just remember it's back there. Top C-plane. Offset. I don't have a midpoint to choose. I'm going to trim these off so I can go to mid. Go to mid. Okay, so we have two different versions of what mid is. I figured that would be the case. That's why I did it the way I did it. Trim that one off. Trim that one off, and we have an averaged mid. want the nose of this to curve like the outside. I only want that crease in this corner. In fact, I really don't want the crease there. I'm tolerating it there. It's going to cause me trouble. Adjustable blend curve. Pull Shift key. So I get a symmetrical pull. It's going to need to be fairly pointy, but not completely pointy. Curve from two views. The one that was back here on the right C-plane. The one I just created. And there we go. Okay. It has some problems. That's all right. Gonna match this to this. Wow, that's really not happy. Gonna pull an ISO curve that relates to the end of this center line I've drawn. It's going to be a little bit farther over than this one. That's better. Still need it to match, but that's going to give me a much cleaner looking match. Take a look at the points just to see what they look like. About as expected. I'm going to come in and delete the sub point here, the anchor on both sides. That'll make my match go a little bit deeper. Give me a little more smoothness. I'm happy. I actually don't need these anymore. Okay. And now I need to make a cross section for this nose in the center. Extrude straight up, intersect, gives me a point. I want to do a line perpendicular from this surface, or normal, where they would call that, from the surface. Normal, point, undo project. There we go. Actually, I didn't need that. That's the wrong direction. Okay. I need it actually to be a ISO curve off of here. Toggle it the other direction. Point. That's what I want. C-plane to my extrusion. Trim this off. Curve, blend, adjustable blend between those two. Shift key as I pull to get me a little softer section. I know I'm going to have a crease right here where this is, and I'm not sure what I'm going to feel about that. We'll see. Adjustable blend curve. I want this to taper down. That's nice. That'll work. surface, I'm ensured that this cross-section or rail intersects this cross-section, and that's essential for a surface from curved network. In fact, if I do intersect, you'll see it gives me a point. It's a very good way to check and see if things actually touch, is to do an intersect. If you get a point, they touch. Okay? Don't need these anymore. In truth, I don't need those anymore. Or this. Okay. Next cross-section I'm going to need is the open mouths of these. This one's going to be simple. It'll be a single surface. It's going to be very easy to do. That's lovely. The other one's going to be a mess. It's going to be a poly surface. Duplicate edge. There's going to be 3 edges there. And if you remember our procedure so far, that's going to automatically mean I'm going to have to resurface this so that it can be smoothed to that scroll when I'm done. But for now, this will work. Only thing I've got to do now is explode this, because I don't want those rails. Actually, it doesn't matter. I can leave it, because it will pick the edge here. It sees this as 2 edges, so there's no reason to explode. Surface my nose piece. Surface from curve network. Edge, rail, edge. Okay. That's our first problem right there. I'm going to have to do this in halves. So, analyze, edge tool, split edge, right in the middle there. And I need to split this curve, this rail, as well. I need to extrude this so I have something. Actually, there's no point. There's no point. I was going to extrude it so I could have smoothness along the point, but that will give me the problem back here where I have to have the crease. The truth is the crease is causing me a headache, and that's alright. I expected it. Surface from curved network. Edge, top rail, edge, curve. You know what? I can steal the edge of this surface. I'll probably have to come back and resurface it anyway, but I might as well. Edge, rail, edge, edge, rail. Okay. First half. Second half. Rail, rail, rail. Section. Curve, because we can't have okay, let's see how this looks with this scene. That's our first concern. Wow, that's really not bad. I expected something much more marked than that. Wow. That really isn't terrible. That's going to be the best solution I can come up with. If it had been bad, I would have made a wedge and cut the wedge out and resurfaced it, but I would have ended up with some crinkling back here in the crevice. This very slight hairline is preferable to that. Okay, nice. Problem is that this surface needs to be remade because it will never be smooth. Well, let's take a look, see how bad it is, since we're in the mood for compromises. No, see that? That can't be. So, yeah, I'm going to have to resurface this piece. And we've done this already in other parts of this model. Extract isocurve, toggle different direction, surface edge, surface edge. Okay. The unfortunate thing is that as I do this, it's going to cause problems here. It is. It's going to cause me trouble. I'm going to go ahead and continue this around this surface. Hide these. As nice as that turned out, I'm not going to be able to use them. This original line, which was so important to creating that maquette surface, is now just in my way. This needs to be split. These, however, can now be joined. This might work out. Analyze, edge tools, merge edge. I want this to all be one edge now. I want to split this edge. Think why I'm doing it. I'm doing it so I can make one contiguous surface, at least for these two front portions. And I'll start with the frontmost one. Surface from curve network, surface edge, rail, surface edge, curve section, surface edge. That'll have tangency on three sides: this edge, and the front. A highly organic surface. Alright. Next up, rail, edge, edge, section, edge. Once again, tangency on three sides. Okay. And this is where it's going to change. Explode, get back into its two curves. Actually, I don't care about it anymore, so it can stay where it is. But I do need to split this edge, because now I have to take this crease into consideration. Split edge. Repeat the command just to make sure that it's split. Yes, it did. Okay. This should be good. surface edge, surface edge, surface edge, section curve, tangency on 3 sides. Other side, surface edge, surface edge, sectional curve, surface edge. I should have tangency on 3 sides again. It's important I don't have tangency. That's why I picked the curve instead of the surface edge, to allow this relaxed crease to take place. Now, if it worked the way I hope it worked, turn these two off. I can go ahead and explode these. 7 surfaces, that's interesting. Take these out and join those back together. I had borrowed these initially, so I don't need them anymore. I have the original surfacing to use. There's my nose piece. I'm going to select the curves out, group them and put them on the storage layer. Bring these back. Join it. Okay. I created some very foul math doing that, because these need to be booleaned. But in the meantime, I just want to see how this looks. I understand that I'm going to undo what I just did, because I can't have those intersections happening. Okay. Kind of a weird kink here. That shouldn't be there. Not the way it was surfaced, it shouldn't be there. Let's see if it shows up under render shade. Indeed it does. Let's see if it's a byproduct of my joining them. Because sometimes that illicit join that I did. Okay, yeah, it's just going to be a problem. Alright, fine. That's why we didn't come too close here. So that we could have the luxury of doing a blend surface across here, which we're going to need to do. Cutting plane. I'm not going to do that now. Okay. I'm just going to save this work out. So I'm going to Control C. And I'll actually just leave it where it is. I can hide it. I don't need to look at it. I'll hide it. I'm going to put caps on these. A little amputated section, and go down to the other end, where hopefully the other cap will prove to be much easier. The same idea, I may have to have a blend surface or something, so to give me exactly what I want. So line perpendicular, give myself some room. And I'll pull it to where they kind of crisscross in the center, so they're roughly the same distance. Actually, this looks like it's going to be a little more pinched. So I'll allow a little more room here. Cutting planes. Use that to split. Hide it in case I need it for a construction plane later. Same with the end of this scroll. Cutting plane. Split this with the cutting plane. Hide it in case I need it for a seaplane later, as well as the rest of that piece. And it's going to be the same series of steps. Okay, I have the same crease, so the same issue associated with that crease. Solid extract surface, copy equals yes, grab my sides. I have the same dramatic elevation difference. Okay. I want a little more logical cross-section or C-plane than that right C-plane this time, because this is a really kind of a strange angle. I want to honor that to some degree. I'm going to use a bisector. Start a bisector at the corner. Start of angle to bisect. Second angle to bisect. Okay. Didn't give me what I wanted. So back to near. That's what I want. I'm going to draw a circle around a curve. I already have the circle selected, so it goes with it already. End snap. Surface, planar surface, C-plane. I'll hide that so I can bring it back whenever I want. Okay? What that's going to allow me to do, adjustable blend curve, that surface to that surface. That's okay. This surface to this surface. That's okay. Project to C-plane. Curve from two views. Wide. Short. Okay. Now I want you to notice the distortions I got. Didn't quite know what to do here. Okay, it's alright. There are maquette curves as well. These are maquette curves. They're not what I really want at the end of the day. I'll split this at the end corner here. Throw that away. Throw away that artifact. This made a lot more sense, so it's okay. Wow, that's just crazy. Explode it. Explode load it again. It says it's one curve segment, so split it. Point somewhere near the end there. Both of those are useless. Rebuild this into something easy and gentle, like a 4-3. Blend curve. Join these together. Make them into a single curve by rebuilding them. Something a little better than 4-3. Give it 9. Curve, edit tools, match. Match this curve to that surface edge. That's good. Check this math on this thing. Pretty elegant, that's alright. Do a match. Take a look over here, check the math on the curve. Well, that anchor point's not too tight in, that's alright. Also, only if the anchor points are stacked right here that I'll get rid of them, because that's not going to give me much of a tangency. Tangency reaches one control point into the curve, and if that control point's right there, I can still have a kink. I don't want a kink. You know, if I want it even smoother, I can delete this, and that way it'll reach all the way and grab that point and adjust it. But that might change the shape too much. Let's find out. I think it's okay. Other end. Now see how much higher this jumped. That's not so great. Split point somewhere in the middle. Rebuild to low math. Check the point location. Dump that one. Match. Better. Join. Rebuild into one curve. It's got 38, we'll give it 45, so we at least maintain that nice curvature now. Done. Okay. Gonna split our outside curves. With our two ground curves. And we'll put those on the blue layer as well. Notice how these don't match, which is pretty interesting. If I project that to C-plane, will it move up? One of these is on the C-plane and one of them isn't. That isn't. The curve, the surface edge isn't. Or it's slightly narrower. It looks like it's slightly narrower. Things changed a little since I drew it. Alright, that's important to fix. That went nicely. Nice. Go ahead and trim off the extra hairs. Give myself a sectional line. Give myself a sectional line. Starting point for surfacing that. Surface from curve network. Rail, edge, section, edge, tangency in two locations. Join. This is why I have the kink on the other piece, because it was also slightly different from the ground curves. That's why. Surface and curve network. Rail, rail, edge, section. Rail, rail, edge, section. I don't want the surface edge because it'll give it some bulge as it tries to match it. I don't want it to try and match. In fact, it sees that as... Okay, only one tangency. Good. Alright. Join. Okay. Now we have to get our first maquette top surface, so let's get some sections up here. Curves. Lost our flyout. Okay. Duplicate edge. Here's that one. Oh, marvelous. I have two single surfaces where these happen to cut. Oh, that makes my life oh so much easier. Oh, I'm very happy about that. That's wonderful. Cool. Alright. However, I do have an angle on both of these. And I need to consider that. This angled surface, you can see it in the cross sections very clearly. This one's rounded on the outside. This is angled on both sides. I'm going to copy this form over here. Okay. Got to create my central cross section. Or central rail, I'm sorry. And my central cross section eventually. Okay, so I'm going to extract isocurve. Mid, extract isocurve to mid, that's a start. I'm going to join these curves back together again on the bottom, because as you'll remember, I need to do an offset curve, drawing the central rail flat on the ground, mid-snap, and same thing from here. We have much more agreement this time. Both okay. I think this one's probably the better one. Even though it's a little close to this edge over here. It still looks like it's going to be alright. Circle center radius. And just trimming off the point so I can use an adjustable blend curve. Make something softer. Fine. Okay, that's really not playing very well with this cross section at all. I'm going to keep going. Nice. Need to make a section to a C-plane to project that to for my curve from two views. I'm going to hit project on my object snaps. Just draw a straight line where those two are at. Extrude it straight up. Set a C-plane to it. Delete it. Project this to the C-plane and curve from two views. misalignment again here on that side. So I'll just change which isocurve and then match this one. Take a look at the points. That's a little close. Match. Match. Okay, there's my top rail. I don't have a great place to put the section here. I'll show you what I mean. This is where that center line is, and see how far it falls from where you would pick kind of the center of this form. That's not great. I'm going to put a point object here. Delete that. Delete that. Curve, line, both sides, project, point, and end. Now that breaks at a weirder point over here, but I need a straight line. I prefer a straight line. I can actually bend this cross section, and perhaps that's what I should do. Perhaps that's what I should do. Okay, I'm bending the cross section. Vertical C-plane. Don't project. Straight down. Fill it. Back into top. Curve. Extend. By arc to point. Rebuild that. Okay. Extrude it straight up. I can't set a C-plane to it because it's not flat, but it will still give me most of what I need. Oops. Extract isocurve, toggle different direction, point, trim, intersect, do a blend curve, adjustable. Something that slopes off like that. Pull that curve onto this surface. Delete input equals yes. Adjustable blend curve. Pull that. Join these together. Delete that. Delete that. Okay. It's an unusual thing to do, but it's not forbidden. It's alright. Okay, I'm going to do my maquette surface. My maquette surface from Curve Network. Edge. Now I'm going to have to split it because I have two rails here. So, analyze. Analyze Edge Tools, Split Edge. I want to split these curves into two, this curve into two. Alright, now I can continue. Surface and curve network. Surface edge. Surface edge. Rail. Surface edge. Section. And actually, I can use that surface for this. Surface edge. Rail. Surface edge. Surface edge. Section. I should have 3 tangencies. Coming the other way. Surface edge, rail, surface edge, surface edge, section. Uh-oh, it picked up that surface edge. I can't have that. It'll give me something very strange here. So at C here, I'm going to say give me position only. Then it will treat it like a curve. Okay, there's my surface. I can join it and take a look at it. See how much more marked this one came out. This is more of what I expected on the other side. This is okay because I have a plan. I'm going to extract isocurves very close into this crease. Toggle so it goes the way I want it. I'm going to know how far because I want it to be able to get a softness here across the center line. So when the iso curves start to let me see that softness, that's where I'm going to pull. There as well. Okay. I'm going to join those together. I'm going to rebuild. It was at 76. Let's say 55. Nice. Throw that away. Analyze Edge Tools, Merge Edge. Get rid of that split that I had there. Now I'm going to have to split these edges. Split edge. Repeat it just to make sure it worked. Yep. I just escape out once I see that it split it the way I want it to. And just to check, yep. And now I'm going to join these together. I'm going to do the whole front 2/3 in one surface. Surface edge, rail, rail, surface edge. Oh, hang on, I need to split this section. Unfortunately, it doesn't perfectly match. That's a problem. I need to find a point to split that at that's very close. Rhino can tolerate a little bit of imperfection, but not a lot. I just did a point where these intersect from the straight extrusion. I'm going to use that point to split this. Point snap. There. And we'll hope that works. Surface edge, surface edge, section curve, surface edge, enter. EMAP. Nice and clean. I'm going to split this edge. Repeat the command just to check, yeah. Okay, and this will be done in two surfaces. Surface edge, surface edge, surface edge, section, surface edge, surface edge, surface edge, section. I don't want the surface, I want the curve. So I only have tangency on three sides, because I need that crease in order for the surface to relax into that corner. Join. EMAP. What we should have is a rather smooth surface that tucks into a crease, almost imperceptibly. Nice. If I say so myself, that turned out. Okay. Extract surface. Don't need those anymore. They were copies anyway. Oop. Copy equals no. Join these together. Interesting. Thank you for being a challenge, Rhino. What fun would it be if you weren't? Analyze edge tools, or just surface match. Remember, surface has to be a untrimmed surface edge. And that's going to give me something just crazy. See what I did here? Yes. Okay. Rhino's fighting. I'm going to fight back. I'm going to split this surface with a curve that was already there. I'm going to try joining it in halves, which it accepted. Take a minute. Group all those curves, send them to a storage layer. Analyze edge tools. I know there are going to be naked edges because those didn't want to join. Show edges. Actually, that's fascinating. Rhino said no. I forced them together, and now Rhino accepts it. All right. Works for me. Let's take a look and see how this looks joined in. Because I did a much better job of fit on the side here. Now, there's still a little kink. A little bit of a kink. So I'm going to need to do some, oh, look at the strange effect I've got here. That's because Rhino didn't like me joining it. Let's EMAP them without joining, see if that makes a difference. Yeah, it's just really not going to give me a good image. Check my options for mesh. It's already set to smooth. Shade. Shade shows shows me a pretty forgiving sequence of events. Okay. Before I can go any further, I'm going to have to Boolean union some things. Okay. Solid. Actually, I could be in trouble. Let's find out. Solid cat planar house. Cat planar holes. Copy, paste, group, storage layer. Solid union. Now I have one piece. So joining this should be a lot kinder now. I am going to remove the bottom. Join this and see if Rhino still has its canary. It's okay. I have that slight seam line there, which I am going to have to remove. With a blend surface. I'm going to go ahead and grab these two caps, untrim all. Going to offset this surface, both sides, 0.3 millimeters. Same thing here. They're a little small. Set a C-plane to it. Scale it around the center. Since the C-plane's set to it, that'll be in the middle. Set a C-plane to it. Scale. 0, because that's the middle. And set a C-plane to it. Scale it from around 0, because that's the center of the C-plane. Set a C-plane to it. Scale around 0. Same. Trim. Blend surface. Flipped, so let's do it again. Next segment, picking all of our first edge. Candidates, then we're going to hit enter. And all of our second edge candidates. We're going to hit enter. There we go. Preview. See this weird thing that's happening? Uncheck same height. Nice. Just because previous experience has shown me that these don't always end in exactly the right place. I'm going to extend it. I'll come back and trim it off later. I just have learned that sometimes there's a slight difference in height. It has an arch or a bend or a bow, and then when you try and put a cap on the bottom, it doesn't work. Blend surface, first edge, second edge, okay, extend, join these together just for a minute to see if that removed that ripple. Yeah, I'm getting a very strange E map, but I think that's good. I have still just a slight buckle through here, and I don't understand it. Rhino doesn't want to play. Surface offset. Not both sides. Otherwise, yes. Oops. Trim. Blend surface. And this may be as good as I can get this, which I will accept because it's going to be for manufacturing. If it was for photo rendering, it would be a problem. The things I'm seeing won't ever show up in a print or casting. Join it up. That did a much better job. We have some slight artifacts here as that comes in. I'm not really sure what that's caused by. Oh, it's because we have this surface right here. Oh, that's odd. There. Surface from Curve Network. Surface edge, surface edge, surface edge, surface edge. That one I have to convert to position. Join. That's interesting. It wants to create a ripple there. because I'm going to need it. I'm going to try using a patch. Curve, not surface edge, or the patch will try and read tangency. Right there. Okay, it's doing it again. Something in the math there creates a ripple line. A is position only. D, I'm going to go to curvature. Worse. And one more try. I'm going to take the curvature out of that. Just put it to position. Ironically, it does as well as if I had that there. There really isn't apparently, there's something about the math coming off of this surface that really wants to create a divot there. Mostly to show you that it can be done. Cutting plane. Section. C-plane, while I have the cutting plane here. Blend curve. Do the surface again. Rail edge, section edge, section, section. A has to be position only. By forcing a cross section in here, I might have been able to convince Rhino to accept that more gracefully. Yeah, not a lot. We're getting a really crazy EMAP on this end. You'll notice that, interestingly, where I put the cross section, which is where I knew the trouble was, it didn't make any difference. Okay, all right, Rhino, you win for now. You win for now. It's a video. If it weren't a video, I'd keep after you, but it's a video. Other end. Okay, and we know we have the same problem here. C-plane, scale, zero because it's the center of the C-plane. C-plane, scale, 0 because it's the center of the C-plane. Offset. This is where it gets tricky. both sides. 0.5. I want this to be as much as I can afford to do. So 0.6. As long as I don't damage right here, I'm okay. There we go. Obviously I need to trim this away so it doesn't cut in or fight with that edge. That's easy to do. Trim. 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 Blend surface. Okay. Okay. Extend surface. Join it all together. Render shade. Nice. Okay. That's workable. Cutting plane at 0. Just so I can trim off those tags. Solid cap cleaner holes. Resulting in one closed poly surface. And that is my finished wire work or structure for my cuff. Now I need to do stones, but I will handle that in a separate video. Thanks for watching.